Hey guys, how's it going? It's Mark Johnson back again. I'm officially missing out on the deal, the real estate deal that was going to make me a millionaire. This house I was planning on buying this weekend has unfortunately slipped through my fingers. Now this is due to, an unforeseen little hiccup in my financing, and my financing for this, well, it's not going to be ready for another 2 weeks. And this place is going up for auction this Saturday in Newcastle, Australia. So if you're looking to buy a house, let me take you through and tell you why this is the best deal you can buy. Now, it's still on the market. It's going to auction this Saturday. I've done a ton of due diligence on this. So this, the due diligence on this house, okay, for you guys, it's been on my mind for, trust me, a long time. And I've solved many problems with it, but unfortunately the finances have fallen through. But there's going to be a ton of value in this video if you ever want to buy a house or invest in real estate. So watch this video, and you can even go and buy this deal if you want, if you're watching this before Saturday. Not only are we going to run through the numbers, show you once this property was fixed up, the amount of equity in it, how it would have actually finally pushed my net worth to that $1 million mark. I'll also show you why if I kept this property, it would have given me a generous cash flow of $64,000 a year, plus paying off the mortgage and all the other bills associated. Okay, let's talk about it. I'll show you exactly what I know about this property and why it's a killer deal. Screen record on. Okay, so why was this such a killer deal? Well, firstly, where is this place? What is it? Okay, so it's in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. All right. Now, I live not in Newcastle, but I live near-ish to Newcastle from Sydney. So you can buy this if you're in Sydney, if you're in Queensland, whatever you want to do. It's such a good property. As long as you can renovate it and you have people down here that can manage it for you, it's a great deal. So what property are we talking about? Right in the heart of Newcastle here. This one. This bad-ass looking property. Okay? 1 and 2, 5 Arnold's Lane, Waratara, whatever it says. Anyways, the address is there for you guys. Let's have a look at the photos. From first glance, it looks like a complete wreck. Don't let that shady shade cloth hanging off the front veranda scare you, because there is money behind this deal. Let me tell you, I've personally walked through this and priced everything up in here, and there is a lot of money to be made in this deal. Let's have a bit of a look. Alright, so at first glance you can see it looks ugly as hell. You've got the road here. The house is, reasonably close. This is a very quiet street too, so not many cars come through here, which is a good thing. But it's actually a duplex. This is the amazing thing. You've got number 1 over here and number 2 over here. So it's 2 separate 2-bedroom units, which is absolutely awesome. It's a full-on duplex. Alright, let's have a look at the photos. Usually these are sold separately, each side, but this is sold as one, okay? And it's sold for an incredibly cheap price. You're getting 2 units basically for the same price as, well, the auction guide here is $450,000. But, that's an amazing deal. I would suspect this would go to $500,000. I was more than happy to pay $500,000 for this. But we will have a look. As you can see, you're basically getting 2 units for the price of less than 1 unit around the corner from here fixed up. So, let's have a bit of a gaze through these photos. So as you can see, this is where it's situated. Nice quiet street here. You've got a whole bunch of stuff around here. So if we zoom out, I know there's a pub here, and there's like shopping center behind here, and there's just a ton of stuff going on that you can walk to. But it's a good location. You've got the backyard here. You've got the nice palm trees. Okay, it's all looking pretty nice. It's all looking not bad. All right. So this is the backyard of the first unit. As you can see, it's just a mess. All this stuff needs to be tidied up. Alright, let's have a look at these photos now. As you can see, clutter everywhere. Makes this place look just terrible. There we go, a bit of an aerial view. It's on a 300, I believe, and 50 square meter block, so not a bad sized block for being so in a city there with Newcastle and everything. 2 parking spaces on one side, so it's a little bit of a challenge to work out the parking between these 2 units. This unit here may need to go and park their car on the street, while this unit here gets the 2 parking spots, because it's kind of hard to have 2 people parking there, because one would have to move every time, it just would be a nightmare. So you would have to charge more rent for this side and then give this side a discount on rent, and they would park their car on the street. That's how you'd work around that problem. The only other way which I thought about solving this would be to actually turn this backyard into a car park. So you would drive all the way through here, there'd be one spot here, and there'd be one spot here. But that's a lot of money in concrete. I don't want to spend that money. Sorry about that call. Okay, so what was I up to? What was I talking about? Alright, so again, guys, there's clutter everywhere. It's just a disaster. All that needs to be cleared out. But something that's great about this unit is you don't have to worry about... This is a 100-year-old house, but you don't have to worry about rotten timbers, gyprock falling off. It is all concrete. It is, well, it's not concrete, it is brick, and it is rendered on the inside. So it is all cement. It's cement rendered on the inside. There's no gyprock to deal with, okay? It's going to make it a lot harder if you want to knock walls out, but I was never planning on knocking walls out. This is an awesome place. It is got good bones because it is rendered, it's cement, it's, you know, perfect for what I want to do is put it on Airbnb. No one can punch holes through the walls, and if they do, they're going to break their wrist. So you've got these really good, strong walls that aren't going to have mold behind them, that are just solid brick and cement rendered, okay? It's awesome. So that's one great thing. Obviously, bedrooms here, bedrooms here. Now, the plan with this roof was, okay, this roof is cracking a little bit. Maybe it had, I don't know, got some water in it at one stage. After you go and check the roof to make sure there's no leaks, I was going to gyprock this roof, batten it out and gyprock it. Because obviously you've got some electrical stuff running up here, and I don't want to see that on the roof. So I was going to batten it out and then gyprock it. Now, I wasn't actually going to remove the old ceiling, because we don't know what this is. It's probably, who knows, asbestos or something. And I know it sounds a bit strange. Oh, you're not going to remove the old stuff, whatever. You get to keep the insulation in there then. You're not getting insulation all over the place. Just batten it out, gyprock it, cornice it, and you've got a brand new ceiling that looks fantastic. And I was going to put the LED downlights in as well. Replace all the lighting and make it just look so much nicer. It does have the vaulted ceilings too, so I think they're called vaulted ceilings. They're all the nice angles, so LED downlights always look beautiful on those. And that, again, that's a cheap thing to do, is just, you know, re-gyprock the roof and then put some LED downlights in, and it's going to look fantastic. Alright, let's have a look. Again, guys, yeah, there's some dodgy looking stuff here. We probably want to paint all this, or at least put some kind of ceiling in so that it looks a bit better. After you move out all the junk out of here, it's going to look a lot better. The junk is very scary. This backyard looks trashed, but again, once you remove all this junk and you're just left with a flat backyard, it's a lot more, you can look at it and go, okay, we're not in deep trouble here, because right now this just looks like a junkyard. But there's a lot of junk removal to be done on this place. Hopefully they can do it, but we'll see. Alright, so bedrooms. Again, no air conditioning units in here, but that's a cheap fix. You just put a split system in each side of the duplex, and that's going to run you about $2,000 per unit. They're very small units, so it's not going to be, you know, you don't need any kind of massive air conditioner in there. Alright, now here's the kitchen. This is the kitchen on one of the sides. So alright, so this is an interesting kitchen. It's got some mold up here, mold on the ceiling, but again, we're going to rip this kitchen out so we can get rid of all that mold, and we'll probably, you know, as I said before, we'll redo the ceiling. And I'm actually going to batten out this side and gyprock this side, so that we have a nice smooth wall to work off when we put the kitchen in. And then as for the kitchen, this is the type of kitchen that I want to do in there. Just a nice L-shaped kitchen, okay, with a new bench top. And again, guys, you know, that's a nice looking kitchen, isn't it? You know, for such a small area, that's what we kind of want to do. And again, the problem is, I mean, not the problem is, the good thing is, these are such small units. let's quickly skip to, as you can see, the rest of it. The bathroom here, I was going to repaint those floor tiles. The tiles are in good condition. All the inspections have been done. Just contact the real estate agent if you want the inspections. Replace the toilet, either retile the base or reglaze the base tiles. So that's not a whole lot of work that needs to be done in the bathroom, and then just decluttering everything. Again, the bathroom's in pretty good nick on this side anyway. So we'll just skip. I won't show you everything. We'll look at the floor plan now. Alright, so this is the floor plan. Now, as you can see, these are really not that big, these kitchens. They're tiny. And everything is tiny on here. This whole house is only 97 meters squared. So a kitchen, both of these kitchens are only going to run you the cost of less, like, you're going to use less cupboards in these two kitchens than you would on like a regular sized kitchen. So there's a big saving there. It's actually not going to be that expensive to renovate this. You're not having to rip off drywall and re-gyprock all these walls and stuff, okay, because, you know, it's all concrete. So there's no cost associated there. It's going to be repainting all of those these brick rendered, cement rendered walls, okay? There's not going to be you're not going to have to be redoing drywall on the walls, all right? You're just going to have to repaint, scrape off any paint that's peeling, and then just repaint. So that's a big cost saver there. You don't have to re-drywall the entire house or rip it back to studs or anything like that. Okay, so again, it's so small that these costs aren't going to be that much at all. The flooring, I think I priced up at about $3,000 in materials, and then another $2,000 in labor, and that's with like top of the line luxury vinyl plank flooring, scratch resistant, completely waterproof. That's top of the line flooring. So there's not a whole lot to do here. Oh, well, look, there is a whole lot to do. Don't get me wrong, this is a big project, but it's small stuff. So it's less material cost, less labor costs, and you know, you've got the cement rendered walls, so it's obviously going to be less. Still recording. It's obviously going to be less, you know, you don't have to rip off drywall and muck around with that stuff, because that would be a big cost to all of this. So you can completely don't have to worry about doing that stuff. Okay, so you see basically what we're looking at here, and if you compare prices around the area, there's houses, you know, just down the road from here selling for over $1 million that are in reasonable condition, but they're not in the greatest condition, okay? They're not like brand new homes or anything. So something like this, I've actually called up the council and asked if this could be subdivided in the future. And they have said, yeah, you can't Torrance title subdivide it, but you can sell them separately and then strata it. So that's another way to add value in the future. If you sold each one of these sides separately after they're fixed up, I think you could get more per side then. And you're going to end up paying for this place not fixed up together. So anyways, there's a lot of opportunity here, and I'm very excited about this deal. But what's excited me even more is the Airbnb potential. Okay, now hear me out here. Let's quickly do the calculation if you were just to rent these. After you fix it up, you just rent these out. Actually, we'll do the Airbnb calculation first. All right, so I've done some extensive research into how this is going to do on Airbnb, and I've looked at some of the Airbnbs around, comparables, okay, so about $205 a night. You know, there's a few comparables around that are, yeah, 2-bedroom houses and stuff. As you can see, this one's a tiny little kitchen, about the same, that's pretty comparable. There is a site called Airbnb where it actually tells you how much Airbnbs are making in that area. You got to pay for it, but it tells you all the information that you need to know, like you're running the Airbnbs. And I can confidently tell you that each side of that unit in this area is going to get between $1,000 and $1,500 consistently. I'm not talking about when it's like Christmas time and there's people they need somewhere to stay, and it's Newcastle's just, or school holidays or anything like that, where Newcastle's just filled with people and there's all this stuff going on. So I can confidently tell you, conservatively, that you'll get $1,000 each side per week, even when it's not that busy at all, okay? That's conservatively. You're more so looking at about $1,500 an average over the year, but I'm telling you, you'll definitely get $1,000 per side on Airbnb Profit after you pay cleaning fees, okay? That's not on top of paying the power bills and stuff, but we're about to work that out for you. So that's $1,000 profit after you pay for the cleaners to come in and manage it all for you. So, CDS rental calculator. Purchase price, $540,000, because I was allowing the auction guide is $450. But this market we're in, I can see it going to $500. $40,000 in renovations, $20,000 each side is what I budgeted. Okay, might even get away with doing it a bit cheaper than that. That's going to be at an interest rate, because I was going to get a no-doc loan of 2.9%. And say stamp duty, for me, for a first home buyer, you wouldn't have to pay stamp duty, but we're going to say the stamp duty is going to be $15,000. Okay, so that's going to bring that to $55,000. Alright, but if you're a first home buyer, you won't have to pay this, but stamp duty, yeah, you're going to have to pay this if this is an investment property for you, a second investment property or whatever. 30 years to pay off, closing costs 0.5. Rents, $1,000 a week per side conservatively on Airbnb. So that's going to be $8,000 a month in rental income. Maintenance 5%, that's going to be any fix-ups and taxes you got to pay, so $4,800 allowed for that per year. Now, run the numbers. Okay, so that's pretty good cash flow, isn't it? This property was going to make me, on the conservative side, okay, $63,479 cash flow on top of paying the mortgage, on top of paying everything related with the property, all that stuff. And that would have been another $11,000 of principal pay down each year on the mortgage. So not only does this property completely look after itself, and it pays all the expenses it needs to pay, plus it pays itself off over the next 30 years, it was also going to give me an extra $64,000 left over to put in my pocket to spend on whatever the hell I want to spend it on. As you can see, that's a 16.3 cap. That's not too bad at all. Debt service, $27,000 a year. Cash on cash return, well, I wasn't putting down a deposit. This is going to be a zero money down deal for me, because I have heaps of equity, and I have, it would have been a zero down payment for me. It would have been a $0 deal. Okay, so you get the drift. It was going to pay $64,000 a year. Now, say you didn't want to do Airbnb. I personally have a bunch of Airbnb set up. I know how to push through the headaches. I have it all automated with my own cleaners. So maybe this is one property, you don't want to go for the Airbnb stuff, and you just want to rent it out. Alright, and say you're a first home buyer and you don't have to pay stamp duty. So we're going to go back to $540. Actually, say you do the renovations yourself too. You're a young tradie, you're doing the renovations yourself. We'll bring it down to, we'll be conservative. Look, $530,000. Okay? Now, say your deposit for this, you're going to get a regular loan from the bank. Not get creative like I am. Your regular down payment, your down payment will be, say, 20%, but you know what? We're going to go with 10%, because I know a lot of you don't have 20%. Now, you may have to pay LMI, but we won't include that, just to show you if you didn't have to. And we'll go an interest rate of 2.2%, because that's what they are now. Interest rates are freaking low. The only reason mine was higher, because I was getting a no-doc loan, which is completely different. It's a more riskier loan, but you pay a higher interest rate. But anyways, your rents are not going to be $8,000 if you're renting it out, let me tell you right now. I got a rental appraisal done on this property right now, as is. You're going to get about $600 a week with both sides, as is, in slumlord, just disgusting. After it's renovated, you're going to get $400 to $450 per side. I can say that pretty confidently. Look, I would like to tell you that you'll definitely get $450 per side, but for the sake of being conservative, we'll run the numbers at $400 a week per side. Alright? 400. Okay, so that would be 800 a week between both of them, so 3,200 a month. 3,200 a month. Vacancy, we put 5% down for that. Maintenance, 5%. Management, put down 8%, so you can have someone manage it, you don't have to worry about it ever, or you can self-manage it and save $3,000 a year back in your pocket. But we're just going to go with, say you put it on full autopilot and you never had to pick up a phone call at 3 a.m. saying there's a leak in the plumbing. You never had to, it's full autopilot. Okay, boom, run numbers. Woo! That's not bad for a property that's going to pay itself off, and it's on full autopilot with no headaches, and it's also giving you, on top of paying everything to do with this property, it's going to give you $10,000 a year in cash flow. Plus principal pay down of $11,000 off the mortgage each year. So you're positively geared by about 21 grand. So, to put this simply for anyone who doesn't understand, if you're a first home buyer with a little bit of trade skills and you buy this property, you can fix it up and then forget about it, get an extra $10,000 in your pocket every single year, paid by this property, have it completely managed by a team, and you don't have to worry about shit, and then the rent pays them, and this property pays 100% for itself. Everything to do with it on full autopilot, covers all those costs, and it also pays you $10,000 a year in cash flow for you to spend on whatever you want to spend it on. That is a pretty damn good deal compared to what these project homes and stuff are offering you rental return wise. This is the sort of deal you want to be looking for. As you guys can see, we've got some pretty amazing numbers here. If you know real estate investing, you're going to know these numbers are pretty awesome, especially for Australia. Australia has some of the most expensive real estate, and it is very hard in Australia to make a profit on real estate. So trust me when I say those are damn good numbers, and you're not going to get a return like that anywhere else. If you'd like to compare that kind of return to a return that you get on one of these new project homes, house and land packages that you can buy, check out this video right here. You're going to realize buying a kind of creative, weird, and wonderful deal like this gives you such a better return than one of these project homes. Project home disasters, not investments, is what I'm calling them in my opinion. But if you're looking for an investment property, this is the one. Now let me tell you a little bit about why I couldn't get this deal. Well, to put it simply, I can't go into too much detail on the actual loan side of it, but I was going to get some private money to fund the renovations. I was getting it financed through a no-doc loan, which basically means they were projecting income instead of having 2 years worth of tax returns. And a no-doc loan it's pretty simple. You pay a higher interest rate because you're getting a more riskier loan. The bank's taking on more of a risk by borrowing with you. And you also have to have a 20% deposit. But I had that through another private loan. So it would have been a no money down deal for me, but usually with a no-doc loan, you need to have your 20% deposit and you pay a slightly higher interest rate. It would have been 2.9% for me instead of 2.1%. They're taking on a bit more risk by letting you borrow off them, and you're paying slightly higher interest rate for that reason. Unfortunately, that fell through, and my financing isn't going to be ready for another couple of weeks, so I'm left out in the grass on this one. The only other option I had was to change all of my home loans to interest only, and then simply that would have freed up my borrowing power, and then I would have been able to borrow another interest only loan, possibly to cover that. But again, that's kind of hard for me to go and do all of that stuff right now because I'm in the middle of getting another loan for a second dwelling on one of my properties. So that would have been quite hard to try and pull off before this Saturday. But, it's really sad because I wanted this deal very badly. But I guess in the end, it's content for YouTube, and if you guys are out there and you're seeing this before Saturday, I would be jumping on this like no tomorrow because that deal was going to be awesome. So how much would this thing have been worth fully renovated? Well, I can tell you if you did not divide it in two and sell them separately, you're probably going to add about 200 grand worth of value, and you're spending about $40,000 on the renovation. I can say that quite confidently. I think that'd be on the conservative side. Then if you were to sell them each side, it gets kind of hard. I think you'd be able to sell each side for $450,000, looking at comparable sales on 2-bedroom units. But then you would have to strata it, and look, to be honest, you'd probably get 450, but you might even get more. But to be conservative, you could say 400 each side, so it would be worth $800,000, and you spent 540 on it. Again, guys, yeah, so that would have been an awesome deal for me, and that would have finally got my net worth to that magical figure that we all want to gloat about on YouTube, the $1 million net worth mark. I currently have $1.7 million in real estate, and I have $1 million in debt on that real estate. So I'm getting close, but again, this one slipped through the cracks, and unfortunately, it's there for someone else to capitalize on. And again, guys, this is a valuable piece of land because it's right in the inner circle of Newcastle. So there's only so much land there that they can, develop. It's all been developed. If you want to be in there, you want to be in walking distance to the restaurants, bars, pubs, all that stuff, then you've got to be in that inner circle, and they can't keep making houses in there, so you can't inflate property in there like you can by just building tons and tons of these massive developments out in whoop whoop land, big farms that just get developed. They can make thousands of these houses, thousands more of these little lots. In Newcastle, they can't. That's the hub. That land can't be inflated, so you're going to see, you're going to see excellent capital growth there, in my opinion. Now, one thing too that was a little bit of a red flag for me is if you are planning to put this on Airbnb, after I called up the council and actually inquired about this, because I don't usually deal with Newcastle Council, they said in Newcastle, now I know for a fact most of these Airbnbs in Newcastle don't do this, okay? So take this with a grain of salt, but you're meant to register it as a tourist rental, not a residential rental, okay? So short-term tourist rental, and it costs about $600, and I think it takes about 5 or 6 weeks, I think she said, to get approved. And there should be no problem with approval, just so long as there's parking for the 2 units, which there is on that one side. So there shouldn't be any problems getting that done, but that is something to keep in mind. Now, there are 2 tenants in there at the moment. This may be a slight problem, but their leases are expired, so they are set to leave. They have to leave as soon as they get asked to leave. So you can kick them out of there pretty fast, but they are paying a little bit cheaper than market rent. And you might find that they don't want to leave. Now, this would be a rare case, but they might try and stay. And with COVID the way it is, there may be some restrictions brought in on evicting tenants soon. They haven't been brought in yet. They actually were in a couple months ago, but they've been stopped. But they may, because we're in lockdown again, they may try and bring those in where you can't evict your tenants. That's a possibility. But again, guys, it's risk to reward. If you have to keep them for a month or 2 extra, or even 3 months extra, you're getting a pretty good deal at the end of the day, and they're still going to be paying you rent. Now, this is a 100-year-old home, so what's it on? What's the foundation like? Is there any asbestos that we need to worry about? Well, there is asbestos in it. There's asbestos sheeting, which isn't dangerous for you. You might even end up keeping that sheeting. You don't realize how much asbestos is in houses. All the eaves are asbestos. If there's any house that's over like 30 years old or something, there's tons of asbestos in all the eaves. It's not something to be scared of. The thing to be scared of is loose-filled asbestos, and we don't know if this house has loose-filled asbestos in it because the roof is like vaulted. You can't actually get into the roof, and I don't want to find out. So that's why we're not going to pull down the roof. We're just going to batten it out and put the gyprock. That's a chance that it's in there, but again, there is a loose-fill asbestos registry where any house that has loose-fill asbestos is meant to be registered on there. I checked that registry and this house is not on it, so that's a good sign to begin with. As for the building reports, you can contact the real estate agent to get all that, but there wasn't any major red flags in there. There's a little bit of moisture in some of the walls and stuff, but again, it's not like they are timber walls where it can rot. So, guys, I would have been very happy to buy this deal. Unfortunately, I can't, and I hope someone out there can buy that deal, or I hope you can learn from my experience. And I hope you took some value out of this video and enjoyed my perspective. So thanks very much for watching. Let me know if you want any more information on this property, how I was going to renovate it, maybe a price list of the renovations I was going to do and the prices and how I worked that out. Hit me up or comment down below and I'll make a video on it, because I need content to put on YouTube, because I love making YouTube videos. I'll catch you in the next one.